Okay, this video is going to talk through the physical SQ board up here. I'm not going to teach you everything about how to run a soundboard in this video. There's a manual for this board. You're going to have to watch it, but I'm going to show you a couple Lutheran West specific things. Now, the first thing you have to know is how do you turn this thing on? On the back right, and Brandon, you can just know that it's here. On the back right, there's a button. It's always near the power cable. So there's a button I'm going to push and toggle it. And I'm going to turn this thing on. Now, it's important to understand when you're turning on a sound system that you want the board to come on first and then all the amps to come on. So right now the amps are not on, even though this thing is in the process of booting up, or I thought it was. There we go, it's starting to come on. Now that this is up, we're able to come back over here. So follow me, adventure. We're going to the back of this thing, and we've got this remote panel here. So there's a key that looks like a triangle that turns this on, or a little trapezoid I should say. Once that's on, you can put this key in here, and you're flick it to the on position, and it's going to go through sequences that will power on things in the basement. When you go to turn a system like this off, you're going to hit the key in here and flick it off. This goes off first, then that. One other note, in the future, this might not be here. You might have a control unit that's right here. In fact, that's the plan. It just hasn't been installed yet. So if you're like, how do I even turn on the sound system? It might be a touch panel right there that you have to hit a button that says sound system on or something like that. Hopefully someone will make a better video than this in the future to show how that works. So now we're going to talk about the physical unit. And there's some things you really got to understand here. First off, when you first turn it on, you're going to see that it says select user. Now there's a couple of different options in here, and there's even some that you can scroll on, and they all have different passwords. There is a default user, and the default user does not have a password at all. So if you were to hit default and hit OK, log in, it's going to say the user scene will be recalled LW1 default. So I've got a scene tied to this one. You hit yes, and boom, you're in. Now you're going to notice that nothing's actually on right now on this screen, but these buttons at the bottom of the SQ, if you press processing, now you're seeing some of the stuff. And there's a bunch of different things that you can go through here. I'll just talk about a couple of them as we go. But on different users, you have different permissions. This user can't go to the scene tab and recall any scenes. They only get one. So this is like a locked out version of a scene. This one has all the stage inputs on stage active, and then some wireless things as well. And actually, I believe on this one, you only get these 32 faders are active. But I could go to this scene with a different user. So if I come over here, and whenever I'm on this screen here, if I hit the processing button again, it takes me to this kind of open screen. I'm going to hit change user here. So instead, I'm going to go to somebody with more power. There's an admin one, and there's an Owen one, and there's some other ones that are on here, drama and performer and stuff, and they all have different permissions that can be assigned in here. Just be aware how that works, that you need to, if you have the password, you can get on. So I'm going to choose admin, and then Brandon, you're going to look somewhere else for a second. I'm going to log in here, and the passwords are in a document. Go ahead and come back over, and we're going to see. Now, if I go to scenes now, I can see I've got a whole bunch of scenes, and if I wanted to, I could load up something like Choir Chapel. This is an older scene, and I hit go. So in order to load a scene, you're going to come in here and hit one and hit go. Hit recall, and then it'll change the faders to associate with what you need. Now, one important thing to understand is that on different scenes, it pulls from different inputs. So on the one that I showed you originally, this default scene, all of these first few faders are coming from the stage. But on a lot of other scenes, that's not true. It might be coming from a little digital box that we have. And so that can all be assigned through the in-out tab. I have a video on routing where I did that with one of the virtual online things, the SQ Mixpad app, where I'll talk about where you can assign where something comes from. Basically, in this room, everything that comes from either Dante, our little stage box, or on the stage are all active and available to you as long as you're logged in with the right password, right user. So, a couple of other things just to understand right off the bat. Over here on the right on a physical mixer here, you'll see this mix select button, and right now it's on LR. LR stands for the house. So when you are pressed on this button, you're mixing what comes out of the house here. If you change to 1, 2, 3, 4, you're mixing something else. And these might be in your monitors, they might be going to wedges someplace. They might be something for video. It doesn't matter, it's a separate mix. But when you're on there, if you forget to go back to LR and you start going through the faders, you're not mixing the house, you're mixing somebody's ears or something like that. So be aware of what you're selected on the right first. Then you've got layers over here on the left. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, and F. They're customizable actually, but by default, layer A will have the first 32 processing channels, B will have another 8, and then some stereo processing channels, the effects returns, and then I loaded a group onto here. C has the master output controls for all of these sends that are leaving here, and also the send volume controls. And then some custom layers that you can make and adjust in here. To assign those custom layers, you go into Setup, and you go to Surface on the left, and then you see on the bottom corner here, we can choose A, B, C, or D. So if I were to go to E, let's say, and I wanted to change what was in this strip right here, I've got all my inputs here, and I could drag the electric guitar down over to 4, let's say, and now that's in there. So I save that. If I look down here and I go to E, now we're going to see the electric guitar made it to 4. So it's a pretty powerful feature. A couple other notes. Whenever you're dealing with a digital mixer, when you want to adjust things, you first have to select what you're adjusting. It doesn't know by default. So this select button that's in the middle row here will help you select something. So if I choose the electric guitar, now all of these knobs and all the parameters up here are associated with that channel. And if I go to the electric guitar screen here and I tap on something, for instance, if I tap on this thing, which is the EQ, now that's the EQ for the electric guitar. If I was already working on EQ and I were to choose a different select channel down here, like the drums, now it changed to drums but stayed on the EQ processing screen. Something to understand about these buttons that say in, or they say in over here, if that's on, that means that's part of the signal flow. If that button's not lit up, that means even if you have parameters set, it's not really affecting anything. So in this case, we have an EQ over here, and the in button that's physical is right there for it, or on the screen, there's an in button right here. If I were to press that button, it turned it off up there as well. And now basically it's like, here's what it sounds like without EQ, here's what it sounds like with EQ. And you can choose different bands. You can read about how to do that. In general, when you touch something on the screen, this knob right here will turn yellow, and it means you're adjusting it with this knob, and you can choose something else to adjust with it. But this is a touch screen. You can drag things around, and there's some physical knobs that make some differences for doing things kind of quickly. There's a bunch of programmable soft keys that you can get to. Those are all very nice, but I'm going to let you read about those in the manual. And then other things I want to talk about the physical surface are some of these buttons here. So here we've got a channel to all mix button, which is kind of a cool feature to mess with. So here I'm on the keys channel, and if I press this channels to all mix button, what it does is it's showing me how much of that keys channel goes to each of my in-ear monitors all at once. So if like I'm saying, hey, give me an up or a down on how much keys you want, I can go, and each person I can go and grab. There's also copy and paste features, which is really cool. If you hold down copy, I can copy something like a whole channel. I hit select on this, and then I can go and paste it into another channel. And I can paste, say, the EQ settings, or I can paste the whole channel, or I can paste the whole monitor mix. Read about that in the manual a little bit more before you mess with it. The other thing right here is you've got either a pre-fade button or an assign button. And this is telling you, on the assign button, it's telling you, hey, this is assigned to this mix. This mix being the house mix right now, or if I was on mix 1, now it's on mix 1. So that would let you say, hey, I don't even want this channel going to this mix at all. And here's the button that says pre-fader, which if you don't know what the pre-fader button does right now, that doesn't make any sense for that one. The pre-fader would be, is this mix separate from the main mix, or is it a percentage of the main mix? And there are situations where you might want to do some of those things. So that's super brief. It's super easy if you want to get back to the processing screen. Super easy is not the right word. It's actually fairly complicated. The other thing to note is watch the signal flow video so you understand how the in-out stuff works. That's very important. And be aware what scene that you're on. So that if you really want to be working on, say, a chapel scene, call that. You can also come into the scenes list right here, and if I wanted to do something but I wasn't sure that I didn't want to mess up anything that was existing, I can load up a scene or recall it first, and then come down to an open slot, let's say number 18, and I can hit the store button here, and now I've stored this as scene 18, and it says in here, Actually, I don't know. It says next scene. Right now we're still on the old scene. We just saved a copy of it here. And if I hit go, now I went to this scene 18 instead. It says current scene is scene 18. And that's telling me now I'm not affecting that mix. So I can go and store things in there later on. Depending on your permission level, you may not be able to do that. Okay, so that talks through the Allen and Heath. That's a little bit. There's a ton of videos that Allen and Heath has made on the SQ series. You can look at those online, and you can look up the user manual. If you're going to be a primary operator of something like this, you should read the user manual and do it somewhat regularly and learn something new each time.